There's a cliff in China that gives birth to stones. Every few decades, enormous stone eggs emerge from the rock and fall to the ground. Scientists still can't fully explain it. But that's not even the strangest thing on this list. Right now, there's a comet passing Earth that won't return for 80,000 years. Almond trees in Spain will bloom for exactly 14 days before vanishing. And in the Arctic, there's a moment where you cast no shadow, like someone broke the rules of light. You can't schedule these. You can't buy tickets. They just happen. And if you miss them, you've missed them forever. I'm Mike with List 25, and these are 25 things you can only see once in a lifetime. 25. Once in a lifetime lightning phenomena captured together. Lightning is common. Thunderstorms happen all the time. But on November 26, 2025, an Italian photographer captured something that even storm chasers almost never see. Valtteri Binotto photographed two of Earth's rarest atmospheric phenomena happening simultaneously. A red elf and branching sprite, both in the same frame, above the same storm. Elves are massive red rings that flash in the ionosphere and fade within milliseconds, while sprites look like luminous red jellyfish dancing above thunderclouds. They're both part of the transient luminous events family, and they're incredibly difficult to spot with the naked eye. Getting both in one photo? That's not just rare, that's astronomical odds. It's a reminder that even above ordinary thunderstorms, there's an entire electrical light show happening that we almost never see. 24. Maha Kumbh Mela with unique celestial alignment. Every 12 years, millions of Hindu pilgrims gather for the Kumbh Mela festival in India. But 2025 was different. The Maha Kumbh Mela in Prayagraj was marked by a once-in-144 years celestial alignment. The Sun, Moon, Jupiter, and Saturn all lined up in a configuration that ancient astrologers believed magnifies spiritual power. Tens of millions of devotees came to bathe at the confluence of the Ganges, Yamuna, and mythical Saraswati rivers, believing this particular alignment would enhance the spiritual merit of the ritual. Whether you believe in the astrological significance or not, witnessing tens of millions of people gathering for a celestial event that won't repeat for over a century is undeniably profound. It's faith, culture, and cosmic timing converging in a way most of us will never see again. 23. Comet C 2023 A3 Tsuchinshan-ATLAS. In 2025, a comet streaked past Earth that won't return for 80,000 years. Comet C 2023 A3 Tsuchinshan-ATLAS came from the far reaches of the solar system, a frozen relic from the formation of our cosmic neighborhood. NASA astronauts aboard the International Space Station captured stunning images as it passed. Think about that timeline. 80,000 years ago, Neanderthals still walked the Earth. Modern humans were just beginning to spread across continents. The next time this comet swings by, humanity might not even exist. For those who saw it, this wasn't just a pretty light in the sky. But if you look closely, you'll realize it was actually a visitor from deep time. 22. Triple Celestial Sky Show. Meteors, Comets, and Northern Lights. On October 20th, 2025, the night sky put on a show that combined three separate, rare events into one spectacular display. Two comets, Lemon and Swan, hung low on the horizon. The Orion and Meteor shower peaked, sending bright streaks across the sky from debris left by Halley's Comet. And to top it all off, a solar storm triggered vibrant auroras that danced overhead. Each of these events is special on its own. Meteor showers happen annually, but peak nights vary. Bright comets are unpredictable. Auroras require solar activity to align with clear skies. Getting all three at once? That's a cosmic lottery win. Astronomers called it a once-in-a-lifetime viewing opportunity, and they weren't exaggerating. 21. Super bloom in the desert. Deserts are supposed to be barren, dry, lifeless, until they're not. When perfect rainfall and temperature conditions align, California's deserts explode into what's called a super bloom. Millions of wildflowers carpet the landscape, turning arid valleys into seas of orange, purple, and yellow. These blooms don't happen on a schedule. Sometimes there are years between them, sometimes a decade. The conditions have to be just right. Enough rain at the right time, followed by warm temperatures and no late frosts. Tourists, photographs, and pollinators flood the region when it happens. The spectacle draws people from around the world because everyone knows it won't last. Within weeks, the flowers fade and the desert returns to its harsh, familiar self. 20. Century plant flowering. The century plant, scientific name Agave americana, doesn't actually take a century to bloom, but it's close. Some live 60, 70, or even 80 years before they finally flower. And when they do, it's spectacular. A massive flower stalk shoots up from the center, sometimes reaching over 20 feet tall. Bright yellow flowers burst from the top in a dramatic final display. Sadly, the bloom lasts only a few weeks, and then the plant dies. All that stored energy, all those decades of growth, culminate in one single bloom before the plant collapses. For botanists and nature enthusiasts, catching a century plant in full flower is rare. Most individual plants bloom just once in a human lifetime, making the timing entirely unpredictable. 19. The Great Sardine Run. Off the coast of South Africa, billions of sardines sometimes migrate in a spectacle so massive it's been called the greatest shoal on Earth. The fish move in dense, shimmering columns that stretch for miles, resembling underwater rivers. Dolphins, sharks, seabirds, and whales converge on the shoals in a feeding frenzy that's both beautiful and brutal. But here's the thing. The sardine run doesn't happen every year. Environmental conditions have to align perfectly for the migration to reach its full intensity. When it does, wildlife photographers, divers, and marine biologists flock to witness it. The scale, the chaos, the sheer volume of life converging in one place. It demonstrates nature's power and unpredictability. 18. Black Sun Starling Murmuration. Every spring in Denmark, thousands of starlings gather at dusk to perform an aerial ballet called the Black Sun. The birds move as one, creating swirling, twisting patterns in the sky that shift and morph like living smoke. The formations are hypnotic, almost alien in their coordination. The spectacle lasts only minutes each evening and depends on precise seasonal timing and weather conditions. Too windy, and the birds don't perform. Too early or late in the season, and they're gone. The most spectacular displays are rare, making them highly sought after by birdwatchers and photographers. Standing beneath thousands of birds moving in perfect unison is an experience that feels almost otherworldly. 17. Aurora over tropical latitudes. Auroras belong in the Arctic. That's where they're supposed to happen. But in early 2025, something unusual occurred. Solar storms pushed the northern lights so far south that they appeared over Florida, Mexico, and the Caribbean. Tropical palm trees were silhouetted against swirling currents of green, red, and purple. Photographers captured images that shouldn't exist. Auroras over beaches. Glowing skies above warm, humid landscapes. It was a visual paradox. These low-latitude auroras only happen during the strongest solar cycles, and even then, they require perfect weather conditions. For people living in tropical regions, seeing the lights is genuinely once in a lifetime. 16. Rare snow-covered Mount Fuji during early sunrise. Mount Fuji is iconic. Millions of people see it every year. But in early 2025, the mountain revealed a side of itself that's almost never seen. After an unusually clear winter morning with fresh snowfall, the rising sun hit the summit at just the right angle, creating what's called the Diamond Fuji effect. Sunlight reflected perfectly off the snow-covered peak, making the mountain glow, as if lit from within. The conditions, pristine snow, crisp air, zero clouds, perfect timing, are incredibly rare. Those who witnessed it described the scene as ethereal. It was a fleeting alignment of nature and light that only happens a few times each decade. 15. Visiting the living Maori village of Whakarewarewa. Whakarewarewa is the world's only fully inhabited geothermal village that welcomes tourists. And it's not a theme park. Maori families have lived here for decades, using natural hot springs for cooking, bathing, and cultural rituals, even when boiling geysers erupt by homes, mud pools bubble in backyards, and steam constantly rises from the ground. Guided tours reveal how the community has adapted to living alongside powerful volcanic forces. You'll see traditional weaving, carving, and hear stories passed down through generations. This isn't a staged experience. It's a living culture coexisting with geology in a way that exists nowhere else on Earth. And because the geothermal activity is constantly shifting, the village itself is always changing. 14. Visit the Blue Fire at Ijen Crater at midnight. At Ijen Crater in East Java, Indonesia, a volcano produces something that looks like it belongs in a fantasy novel. Blue fire. The flames aren't from lava. They're caused by sulfuric gases igniting as they escape from vents at the crater's edge. The result is eerie, electric blue flames dancing across the rock. The hike starts at midnight. You climb steep slopes with a headlamp, reaching the crater rim before dawn. At the edge of a turquoise sulfur lake, you watch the blue flames flicker in the darkness. As the sun rises, the landscape transforms into swirling mist and vibrant colors. It's an experience that blends geology, danger, and surreal beauty in a way that few places on Earth can match. 13. Egg-laying Mountain in Guizhou, China. In China's Guizhou province, there's a cliff that appears to give birth to stones. Every few decades, enormous smooth stone eggs emerge from the rock face at Chandaya Cliff. Some weigh hundreds of pounds, yet they appear as if laid gently by nature's hand. They slowly detach from the cliff and fall to the ground below. For the local Shui villagers, these stones are sacred gifts from the earth, believed to carry protective powers. Scientists think it's a slow geological process involving erosion and mineral deposits, but the exact mechanism is still debated. The phenomenon is subtle and happens over long periods, making direct observation rare. For many families, it's truly a once-in-a-generation event. 12. Monsoon retreats in Kerala, India. Kerala during monsoon season isn't just rain, it's a complete landscape transformation. Backwaters swell, tea plantations turn impossibly green, and mist rolls over hills in thick waves. The air fills with the scent of wet earth and spices. The sound of rain becomes a constant rhythmic roar. This rare convergence of weather and terrain creates an immersive sensory experience. Everything is vibrant, dramatic, and alive in a way that's hard to capture in photographs. Traveling during monsoon season means witnessing nature in the most theatrical way. It's a spectacle that few tourists experience firsthand, making it a treasured encounter with the environment. 11. Puck Fair, the Goat King Festival. In Killarney, Ireland, there's a festival where locals capture a wild goat, crown it King Puck, and parade it through the town for 3 days before releasing it back into the wild. Yes, you heard me right. A crowned goat. The celebration blends pagan roots with lively community events, music, and markets. The sight of a goat wearing a crown while the crowds cheer is both whimsical and deeply strange. It's a cultural oddity found nowhere else, tied to a centuries-old tradition that happens just one weekend each year. If you want to witness King Puck's reign, you have a very narrow window. 10. Meteora Monasteries at sunrise, Greece. The Meteora Monasteries sit atop towering sandstone pillars in central Greece, perched hundreds of feet above the ground. Visiting at sunrise reveals mist-shrouded peaks bathed in golden light. Centuries-old stone walls glow. The landscape feels otherworldly, almost impossible. The fusion of natural grandeur, religious history, and the quiet calm of early morning transforms the site into something transcendent. This delicate alignment of light, weather, and solitude makes witnessing Meteora at dawn truly special. It's a moment of connection to both nature and human craftsmanship. 9. Firewalking Festival, Bulgaria, Nestinarstvo. In select Bulgarian villages, a centuries-old ritual called Nestinarstvo still takes place. Participants dance barefoot over glowing embers, honoring saints and local folklore. The ritual blends mysticism, courage, and cultural tradition into a performance that's both spiritual and visually arresting. The flames are real, the heat is intense, and yet the dancers move with calm precision, seemingly unaffected. The ritual's intensity and rarity make it an extraordinary experience, seldom witnessed by outsiders. It's a glimpse into Bulgaria's unique heritage and enduring ritual. 8. The Almond Blossom Route, Spain. Every February, almond trees across Mediterranean Spain burst into bloom, covering the countryside in delicate white and pink blossoms. Traveling along these scenic routes transforms ordinary landscapes into a sea of flowers. The bloom is fleeting, lasting only a few weeks each year. For nature lovers and photographers, it's a rare and precious seasonal spectacle. The timing has to be perfect. Too early, and the trees are bare. Too late, and the petals have fallen. Witnessing this ephemeral transformation is an opportunity to see the region at its most vibrant and enchanting. 7. The biannual sheep leap of the Faroe Islands cliffs. In remote Faroese villages, traditional sheep migration follows dramatic cliffside routes carved into steep Atlantic headlands. Twice a year, herders guide hundreds of sheep across narrow ridges and ledges high above the ocean. The sight is almost unreal. Animals moving calmly where a single misstep seems impossible. It looks like gravity has stopped working. This practice is deeply rooted in Faroese pastoral life and occurs only during specific seasonal windows. Because of the island's isolation and timing, witnessing it in person is rare, making it an unforgettable glimpse into a living tradition. 6. The Shadowless Noon in northern Scandinavia. Above the Arctic Circle during midsummer, the sun never sets. It just circles the sky, never dipping low enough to create darkness. But here's the weird part. At solar noon, objects cast almost no shadow. The landscape flattens. Depth perception breaks down. Familiar visual cues disappear, making the world feel subtly wrong. Standing with no shadow beneath your feet is deeply disorienting. This surreal experience is possible only at extreme latitudes and only for a brief window each year. 5. The moment the Thames completely freezes. Historically, the River Thames has frozen solid only a handful of times in recorded history, most famously during medieval winters when frost fairs were held on the ice. Today, a full freeze is exceedingly unlikely due to climate change, but on rare occasions, partial freezes still occur. Ice floes lock together beneath London's bridges, creating eerie, surreal scenes. Witnessing the Thames seize into stillness offers a powerful connection between modern London and its colder past. It's a fleeting sight of vanished climates and winters that once reshaped daily life across Europe. If you see the Thames freeze, you're witnessing a climate event that may never happen again. 4. The moment Stonehenge aligns perfectly at winter solstice sunset. The summer solstice at Stonehenge draws crowds, but the winter solstice sunset is quieter, colder, and often more profound. As the sun sinks precisely between the ancient stones, it marks the shortest day of the year, the turning point ancient builders may have valued most. The light fades quickly, the air stills, and the monument seems to absorb the moment. Standing there in near silence as daylight dies feels deeply humbling. 3. The sudden bloom of sea daffodils along Mediterranean shores. Sea daffodils bloom unpredictably along Mediterranean coastlines, emerging only when precise combinations of heat and rainfall align. For just a few days, sandy dunes transform as delicate white flowers rise directly from the beach. They thrive in an environment shaped by salt, wind, and intense sun. The contrast between the harsh coastal conditions and the flower's fragile beauty makes the sight especially striking. Because the bloom window is brief and irregular, missing it often means waiting for another year, or longer. 2. The sky turning purple during Saharan dust storms. When Saharan dust drifts north into Europe and merges with storm systems, the sky transforms into striking shades of orange, red, or deep violet. Midday light turns into a surreal sunset-like glow. The air takes on a metallic tang. Visibility drops. Familiar landscapes feel suddenly alien. This dramatic spectacle is short-lived, often lasting only a few hours before rain clears the dust and restores normal conditions. 1. A solar eclipse on Mars. At number 1, we're leaving Earth entirely. Mars rovers like Curiosity have recorded the planet's moons, Phobos and Deimos, briefly eclipsing the Sun. But these aren't the majestic total eclipses we see here on Earth. Martian eclipses are fast and irregular. The moons are too small and weirdly shaped to block the sun completely. The spectacle lasts mere seconds. And here's the kicker. Only robots have witnessed them so far. If a human ever stands on Mars, they'll likely see a Martian eclipse just once in their lifetime. This rare extraterrestrial phenomenon offers a striking glimpse into the alien dynamics of Mars's sky, highlighting how celestial events can vary dramatically across worlds. And there you have it. 25 moments so rare, so perfectly timed that most of us will never see them. The crazy part? This list barely scratches the surface. There are countless others happening right now all over the world, just waiting for someone to stumble upon them. Which of these would you want to witness the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this countdown, check out our video on 25 natural wonders disappearing in our lifetime. The link is right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.